Before we take an in-depth review of the new Broadway Limited Imports Union Pacific Big Boy, let's get some stats and facts about this locomotive. The Union Pacific Big Boys were built from 1941 to 1944 by the American Locomotive Company, or more commonly known as ALCO. They weighed in at 1.2 million pounds, or 600 tons. They are 132 feet long, can produce a staggering 7,000 horsepower. 25 of these giants of the rails were built for the Union Pacific in two separate batches. The first batch, 4000 to 4019, were built and delivered in 1941 to 1942. The second batch, number 4020 to 4024, were built and delivered in 1944. These locomotives lasted in service until 1959, when the Union Pacific put them into storage, until 1961 to 1962, when all 25 big boys were retired. Out of the 25, 8 locomotives were saved, with 7 in static display and 1 in operation, number 4014. The 4014 was built in 1941 and delivered to the Union Pacific in December of the same year. It was retired in 1961, where it was donated to the Rail Giants Museum in Pomona, California. In 2013, the Union Pacific reacquired this locomotive for its 150th anniversary in 2019. From 2014 to 2016, the locomotive sat in the Cheyenne Shots, waiting on its restoration, due to Union Pacific 844 getting its restoration done. In 2016, after the completion of the 844, 4014's restoration officially started. And after 3 years of hard work, in May of 2019, Union Pacific pulled out of its Cheyenne Shots for the first time in nearly 60 years under its own power. The 4014 was converted to burn oil, and to make the deadline, they are using the tender from its younger cousin, Challenger 3985, which has been inactive since 2010. Today, 4014 is still working for the Union Pacific as a part of its heritage program, and is going to be that way for the next several decades. So here we go into the details of this Broadway Limited Imports Big Boy. So here you got your nice cow catcher area with the swinging out dummy coupler. Looks nice. Coming up, you got a separately applied coupler cut lever. You got the grill that covers the air coolant vein lines and the compound air pumps. You got your illuminated headlight with numbers illuminated on the side. You got an etched metal number plate here. You got separately applied meshed metal wire grab irons. Well, not grab irons, but wire stanchions going up on either side of the headlight. You got separately applied flag post irons here. Coming around to the engineer side, we got more wire. We got wire handrails going down the entire length of the boiler with the wire drive pipe. This is separately applied piping going up the side of the smoke box here. Here on front of the smoke box, we got two illuminated marker lights with a brass bell that actually swings, but the big boy does not have a swinging bell. You got illuminated number boards here coming down the side. You got nice steps. You got your nice piston here. You got your nice metal running gear. You got your metal wheels, which are unpainted. Coming down to the side of the boiler, you got all this piping underneath the boiler. You got some air tanks. You got more some steam piping. You got steam piping connected up to the front booster, which when it does go around curves, it actually moves all 3 pipes. There's 3 pipes under there. They all do that. You got your nice and intricate valve gear all down here. More down the side, you got your nice sand domes here and here. You got a steam dome here. You got 5 safety valves. More piping. More piping. You got molded in piping. There's nice riveting detail. Under here, you got a lot of stuff going on down here. All looks great. Runs great. again, here's your second engine with metal running gear coming down. You got more piping coming down the side of the firebox. The one detail that they did get wrong, which is something that annoys me because this is a 2022 run, so Big Boy was it's been 3 years since the restoration of the Big Boy, so this is the one detail they should have gotten right, and they didn't, and it's annoying. They have the grates under the firebox. And if anyone knows anything about steam locomotives when they've been converted to oil, they no longer have the grates, or the ash, well, not the grates, sorry, the ash pan. Ash pan is only on coal and wood-fired locomotives, not oil. So this should not be here. Anyway, you got more simply applied piping going up and around, down. The firebox here, you got a nice big old valve wheel right there. You got your blowdowns. Coming out to the side of the cab, you got 2 separately applied and hand-painted crew figures in the cab. You got moving windows. You got molded windows that look open on the front here. This is where the drive pipe and the handrails all go into the front of the cab. You got a separately applied metal grab iron here. You got more stuff on top of the boiler, and you even have a opening hatch, like so. Which apparently I cannot get that down for the life of me. Alright, so we're gonna come down here. As you can see, the Big Boy does have an enclosed cab because it is oil fired. And this version is the version. My version that I have is the Big Boy Tour, so it does have the correct 3985 tender, which the first run of Big Boys came equipped with 24,000 gallon tenders. This is 3985's 25,000 gallon tender. It loses a little bit of fuel space, but since this is oil fired, it's not too big of a deal. So going down, you got your nice metal wheels running down. You do have your nice centipede tender. These 2 wheels do pivot. These are stationary, but there's enough wiggle room so where they can negotiate curves. You see that? They got wiggle room in there, so they can go around curves and you don't have any issues. Hence why you can do a 22-inch radius with this thing. Yeah, nice Union Pacific, nicely printed on there. Same thing with the 4014 under the cab. And interestingly enough, all of this information is correct. I can even decipher it for you, I think. Let's attempt. So you got 4884, which is what it is. You got a 4-wheel pilot truck, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels, and a 4-wheeled trailing truck. 68 is your diameter size. These are almost positive are your piston sizes. 540, if I remember. I can't seem to remember what 540 stands for, and this DB simply means it's the kind of oil system it has, so it's not it. So that means it's an oil fired and no longer has a stoker or coal fired. Let's come down. You got this nice printed on plate here, right on the side of the toolbox on the tender. You got more separately applied piping coming on the bottom here. The nice centipede tender coming to the top. Again, you got very nicely done detailing. You got your 3 water hatches here. You got your oil hatch, dipstick, and another sort of detail. You even got pipes running down the front, heading towards the cab. Coming to the rear of the locomotive, we have lit number boards. Well, not marker lights here. So on the sides they are green, but on the rear they are red. This light is not illuminated. You got illuminated rear light. You got UP 4014. And down here you got down here is your water capacity, which is 25,000 gallons. A late version Challenger tender. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure all the Big Boys came with 24,000 gallon tenders. But it was not uncommon for the Union Pacific to swap tenders with their late Challenger cousins. according to the Trains magazine special on the restoration of the Big Boy. Now, this is going to be the challenging part, trying to rotate this big behemoth. I think it's just going to be easier if I just... And this guy is a hefty thing. Here, here, we're going to give you a nice little sound. Ready? Here, I'm just going to drop it like so. It's heavy. It's completely made out of die cast, completely metal. This thing is a brick. And for some ungodly reason, Broadway Limited decided to put a traction tire on the rear of both sets of the engines. So there's a rear traction tire, there's a traction tire on this rear driver and this rear driver. So this thing has a stupid amount of pulling power. How much? We're going to put to the test later. Alright, so here we go on the conductor side. You got more simply applied piping going down the side of the smoke box and boiler. You got your handrail. You got more, and here's your nice whistle with the whistle steam smoke effect. Working smoke units in your smoke sack. This lifts up. You remove this little piece here. And in one of your poly bags, it comes with, you guessed it, smoke hood. So we'll just install this real quick so I can show you guys how to install the smoke hood, since there is no instructions on how to. Simple little part, and with that removed, what you do is you just put this into place, press down a little bit, and then you go. You got your smoke hood installed. But I don't like the smoke hood, so I'm just going to put back in the poly bag and reinstall this part. There you go. It sets in. So heads up, if you guys are not going to use the smoke hood, I would advise in putting some canopy glue or micro crystal clear or some sort of flexible glue that you can later remove to hold that part in place, because it is friction fit and it is a loose friction fit. So if you guys do not want to lose a part on a $700 model, I would probably glue that in. Anyway, coming back down to the side, coming back down, you got your steam dome here. You got your sand dome, steam dome. Here's your other two pop-off valves. Looks like we got another valve in the stem here. You got your air tanks. You got more steam piping going from your second set. Again, the metal running gear runs great, sounds great, looks great. Come back to the firebox. You got more simply applied piping coming up and down on the side. You got your ash pan, which is not correct. I finally got that hatch down. You just had to take something that won't scratch the paint and just push at the little tab on the back. You got more piping underneath the cab here. You got an S metal drop plate, which it does drop down freely. You got a fire hose. You got more piping coming down the side of the tender. Wire, nice ladders going up the sides of the rear on both sides. You got more wires across the top. And on the back, you do actually have a coupling lever and train line air hose that is actually separately painted silver. The tip is actually painted silver. You see that? I didn't do that. That's how it came from the factory. Everything on this locomotive is factory. The only thing I have done is I've changed the decoder's address from 3 to 4014. Only thing I have done to this model. This locomotive is a gorgeous locomotive, and I highly encourage anyone, if they have the money, to get one of these. And here, one other inaccuracy, you guys can probably see it right away. Your dynamo. On the restored version of the Big Boy, the dynamo is mounted the other way. It is mounted so where it's not mounted lengthwise, but it's mounted widthwise, because they added a second one to help run all the electronics in the cab, such as CAD signal system and the radio. This is basically enough to do the lights, but not enough to also operate the radio and now PTC. So they had to add the second generator. Again, this should have been a detail that should have been caught at the cost of this model. $700 is a lot to drop on an HO scale locomotive and not have it completely correct. I could care less about this dynamo, but this should have been... This should not be there. Any photo that shows you Big Boy's firebox clearly shows no ash pan, but yet it's here on the model, and I've looked under this thing. It's a solid cast piece. This is not a separate piece. This is into the casting of the boiler shell. And the weight extends down below that, so I would lose a large chunk of weight, and that's just a modification I don't feel like doing. Nor should I even be thinking about doing this modification on this price range of a model. But besides that, this engine runs great, sounds great, looks great. I love the smoking whistle effect on this guy. Love it. You'll see that here in the next clip when we go to the running session. So let's go there now. Alright, here we are up on the railroad. We got the big boy on. I would recommend that you use a re-railer anytime you put this locomotive on. You have 19 axles to put on, and it is a pain to do it by hand, so I highly recommend a re-railer. I use Kato re-railer. What I own is a Kato re-railer, and I swear by it. It's one of the greatest things I've ever bought for about 10 bucks. Alright, so as you know, by any Broadway limited engine, you can do two ways of the startup. F9, the extended startup shutdown sequence, or just give it a little bit of throttle. So as you see, as soon give it a little throttle, you get your sounds, you hit your light button, and what it's going to do is going to turn on all your lighting accessories, which includes the headlight, as you see. The headlight, number boards, marker lights come to the side. We have an illuminated catch, so there you go. Get a nice little view. You get a nice back head detail on that. Nothing separately painted, which sucks. Come in the rear, you got your rear markers. So, as you see, it's already starting to smoke. So, why don't we do it and test it out? So here's the whistle. Yeah, I love that. Alright, that was the whistle. You guys heard it. Very accurate whistle compared to the modern day big boy. Use your bell. F3 does coupler sounds. F4 does a lot of other sounds with the steam, so we won't worry about that. When you first start the engine up, for the first 8 revolutions, you're going to hear the cylinder cocks on each piston. Hear it. You can hear it now. This thing's a very smooth runner. I have broken this engine in. As of the date of this recording, I've had this locomotive for a week, and it's a good thing I did not try to film this the first day, because we would not have been happy. This locomotive will pick out every imperfection in your track. Doesn't matter whether it's a straightaway, a curve, or a switch. If it's not perfect, this thing will hate it. I have gotten this where it can tolerate my track. Alright, so why don't we move it on to the passenger train, which I got set up here on track 1. As you see, it's got Rule 17 lighting, so when it's sitting here in idle, the headlight's going to be dimmer until you start giving it a little bit of throttle, then the headlight will brighten up. I love this engine, but man, that bell's freaking annoying. Yeah, see, you just heard the cylinder cocks kick out, now we're steaming. Sadly, unlike the Lionel models and all that, this does not have the smoke effect where it does chuff, 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 chuff. It's just all at once, because you got to think they had to have enough space in here for not one, but 2 smoke units, one for the stack and one for the whistle. Look at that beautiful valve gear in motion. Your cab light will stay on until you hit about speed step 2. Nope. I think it's speed step 4. Speed step 3, looks like it. What a beautiful model. Definitely worth the money. Here's those rear markers again. Look at that. There's the switch. Alright, here we go. See, after speed step 3, your cab light turns off while we watch this ASMR coupling. So as you guys can see, this engine's a beautiful runner. It's smooth. Here, we'll turn off the sounds and the smoke in it, and now you guys can really listen to the drive. Silky smooth, ultra quiet, exactly what you would expect in a high-end locomotive such as this. Look at that. Look at Big Boy doing exactly what she does best, performing in front of a crowd. So I'm gonna shut up now and let you guys watch this thing do a couple hot laps around the railroad. This is NS Productions 8104 signing off. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and join in for the next one. Thanks. Alright, here it is, the true test of power. I have my 3 Scale Trains Pride and Service locomotives contested with the Big Boy in the ultimate tug of war. Because these are officially the heaviest ES44s you can get out on the market. So here we go. Speeds, we're just going to increase it by 10. Alright, while the scale trains are running. Okay, that's weird. So Broadway Limited has installed a safety feature where I cannot do this test properly. Because it looks like if you overload the locomotive, what it will do is it will... You guys saw it. It was pushing the 3. Okay, so it does have a feature so where if you overload the locomotive, it will automatically not work. But you guys saw it. It pushed those scale trains before it faulted out. So this thing has the capacity of hauling 150 plus cars. That is a powerful locomotive. I wouldn't pat it past it if this locomotive can haul 200 cars up a grade. With those 2 traction tires and just the weight alone, this engine probably weighs between 3 to 5 pounds just because it's completely die cast. The only plastic are some of the piping detailing and anything near the trucks that are not electrical anything near the wheels, so it doesn't short out the wheels, so it doesn't short out the engines, just like their brass hybrid line. This thing will be your #1 puller, and you probably will never ever have an issue with a train again. Oh, hey, your train your train can't get an upgrade? Oh, no problem. Let me throw my Big Boy on the rear. So here, we'll do the proper test, the proper way. We'll do this. You guys are seeing it. Ooh. Okay, so there it goes. I overloaded the motor. So it cannot pull 3 stationary scale trains. Let's do 2. Oh, no problem. You guys are seeing it here. I'm not doing that for long. I don't want to put flat spots on my wheels. But you guys just saw it. One Big Boy can hold 2 scale trains ES44s. And each of these can probably hold between 50 and 75 cars each. So if they can hold 75, again, 150 cars. Plus, it did start to pull the 3rd one on. It's just I just overloaded the decoder. So, we now can confirm This engine is a powerhouse on wheels. So, yeah, you saw it, guys. This thing's a powerhouse.